Morning, everybody. How's it going? Is this working? Oh, yeah. Good morning, everybody. How's it going? Beautiful Sabbath, middle of June. It's a Saturday. Middle of June, 2025. And, I want to make a new vehicle decision. And so, it's not something that's going to be instant. I take forever to make vehicle decisions. I ponder things. I look at things. Then I try to, hopefully find the ones that are on my list, take them out for test drives if I can, and seeing which ones I like. Now, the current one that we have a 2014 Ford Flex Limited. Now, if there's any international viewers, you probably won't have that, but in North America we have them. They were not popular cars, but not for any good reason that they weren't popular. They are fantastic, and this car has really spoiled me because it has every gadget in it, and it's got lots of power and all that kind of stuff. Problem is we want to smallerize as we're getting to that point in life where there's only two of us, and my wife is the only one that really drives the car. But I can want to give it my own flavor because I'm the one that buys it and buys it to my taste, and she's never disappointed. But I buy it to my taste, and then she drives it, and it seems to work. But now I'm in a position where, well, what do I get? Now, well, what choices are out there? Americans don't do small cars very well, especially ones that have a lot of options. It's just not something they do well. My expectations are it has to be extremely quiet. It has to be nice, soft ride, suspension. I don't want a sport suspension of any kind. I don't want to hear anything on the outside. And I like those nice little options that seem to be almost basic on many cars when you buy new ones these days, but the older ones not so much. And I'm a used car buyer. So what do I look for? Well, you know what? I have it down to a Mercedes ML 350. I've even seen a Mercedes CLK 550, which I don't think so, because I'd like to save a little bit of money on gas, even though it's not a huge priority for me. But I would like to save some if I can. And of course, I have to consider insurance, because insurance is absolutely crazy bananas. Okay. And so that's something I have to take under consideration. And then there's the Asian cars. Asian cars are great, and the Japanese cars, they have the reputation of being very reliable. The problem is that the asking price for those cars does not justify the purchase of them, right? Because I can buy a European car which has by far superior interiors and by far superior rust protection, which is where I live, because I'm surrounded by ocean. Even though I live in from the shore, we have to deal with rust. It's just a part of living where I live. So, I've been looking at I seem to be going mainly European. I wouldn't mind buying an American brand. I mean, they're great. Buick has some beautiful cars. And it's not like we need four-wheel drive, but it would be nice to have four-wheel drive for the simple reason that sometimes in the wintertime to get up our hill. I mean, my work van has rear-wheel drive, and because I have a good set of winters, it does absolutely fine. I don't run into any difficulty. But there's a lot of choices out there, and the European cars go for next to nothing. Thing is, why do they go for next to nothing? Well, because sometimes they're a bit of a challenge to repair. And, I'm a bit of a shade tree mechanic, a do-it-yourselfer, so there's many things that I can do that, and thank God for YouTube, that we can take that information from YouTube and we can make it work. If we're willing to take on those challenges, and some I will not be able to take on. Now, I live in a very rural area. Okay, very rural. So people out here will buy Honda, Toyota, Subaru. Those are all great cars. But one thing I have noticed as I'm looking through the used car advertisements, whether that's Facebook Marketplace, Kijiji, Auto Trader, it doesn't really matter. They do not necessarily seem to go any higher kilometers than the European cars or the American cars. They'll still have suspension issues. They'll still have, maybe engine issues. And let's face it, Asian cars don't do interiors very well. It doesn't matter what year. They just don't. That's something that that's why you pay here what you pay for, because they only sell the luxury brands of their vehicles, and that's it, right? So needless to say, you get what you pay for. And but again, they're a bit challenging when it comes to the mechanicals on it and the gadgets that they put inside of their vehicles. So this is what I'm up against. Hey, if you have any opinions on what I should be getting or what I should look at, great. I'm one of these days I'm gonna decide that, okay, I've had enough. It's time for me to retire. Whatever that means these days for people in my generation, I haven't a clue, because I am certainly not I'm not a government employee. So I didn't luck out on the gold, what do they call it? The gravy train. So, but I'm not worried about that. That kind of stuff. God will bless me through my life. I'm responsible for a good portion of that, to use the wisdom that He gave me to make things work. And we go through the challenges that we produce on ourselves, or that God allows to happen in our lives, and we monetarily, and we just keep moving forward, right? That's the way it is. And that's the way it's going to be for many of us, but I digress. So, I don't mind having a two-wheel drive car. That's fine, even though four-wheel drive may be better, because we get snow out here. And but it's, again, the snow is not as huge of a deal. When it comes down good. But that's only for a month and a half where I live, that I really have to worry about that kind of stuff. The other times where the snow remains is really minor stuff. So I'm not overly concerned about that. But rust, yes, and that leads me towards European cars. I love beautiful interiors, because that's where you're spending your time. That leads to European car. And so that's where I'm headed. But, give me your view. And again, it's to smallerize, right? It's to shrink things down, because where my wife works, pretty small parking lot, and she drives this long Ford Flex. And so, yeah. And you know what? I've always wanted to be one of those people that keeps their vehicles for a while, and I never have. I just haven't. I admire people that can keep their cars for a while. My dad was like that. And it's just not me. I don't know why. Yeah, circumstances change. And you try to, adapt your everyday travel to those circumstances. And we had an electric car just a few years ago. It didn't work. The system is just not ready for electric cars. And if I lived in an urban environment, I would go for an electric car, because there's no I don't think there's any downside for those living in an urban environment. But it's a huge downside if you're living rural, and if you do travel. So that's where we're at. If you have any suggestions, let me know. I'd love to hear them. And trying to make decisions with God-given wisdom, but I'll be dead honest with you. It's scary. It is just scary buying vehicles these days, because I know that regardless of what I buy, I have to take into account that I'm going to have to put $5,000 aside for the first year, just to ensure that that I can fix the issues that may arise. Because you know what? Buying used cars, that you are guaranteed that you are going to have an issue. Now, morally, I cannot sell my car with a lot of issues. I just can't. My beliefs and my moral persuasion doesn't allow me to do that. But I'm going to show you my Ford Flex. Here's my Ford Flex. You know, the thing is huge, right? Here's the Saab that I'm just getting on the road. So I should have that ready, hopefully by not next week, by the week after, and it will go for safety certification. The front tires are not holding air. We'll get that taken care of. And I have to replace the front calipers. I replaced the front discs, hoping I could use the existing calipers, but that's not working. And the check engine light is on, so I gotta diagnose that as well. But this car is absolutely beautiful, and I'm gonna I never gave it up. I want to keep it. And it's a beautiful interior. You know, despite the ripped seat, where I bought it like that, 7 or 8 years ago. But it's just a beautiful car, and a lot of General Motors parts on it. So the parts are, relatively easy to get. Still a little cleaning and some boxes in there. We have it's not all cleaned up inside yet, but it's just really nice car. And so I'm gonna give this to my son to use, and he's going to get rid of that car right there. And I mean, if I do sell the Ford Flex before we get another car, which is what I would like to do, then we'll share the use of the Saab. But yeah, anyways, let me know what you think. Absolutely beautiful. We've been getting some beautiful days here now. The rain season is gone, and it's just time to enjoy summer. Apparently, they're expecting a heavy hurricane season in the States this year, so we will get residuals of that. And the future is going to be very challenging, as many of us believe. And it's just a matter of trying to make best choices that we can as we go through these challenges, and to try to be a help to people that need it. And so yeah, anyways, you guys have a great one. I'll see if I can make more spur of the moment type of vehicles, just to let you know what's happening. I heard this one guy talk about, he's had the same Toyota Camry for 15 years, and that is absolutely great. Very reliable, it starts up all the time. But I'm not one of those people that is when I go into an interior of the car, I do want to sit in a nice environment. Not that Toyota can't do that, but I have had a Toyota before, Toyota Sequoia. Wow, was that a great vehicle? But my goodness, it was a sad time every time I went in it, because it was just all gray, and that's sad. And I really don't want to deal with that kind of stuff anymore. And I do like Subaru as well, but you know, they design interiors like it was designed by a communist, so I don't want that either. As much as I like Subaru, but I wouldn't buy one from, you know, ages 2011 to 2016 or 2017, I guess, because of the CVT that they have in it. It took them a while to get all the challenges out of that. Okay, yeah, let's call it a video, and I'm signing off. Okay, till next time, bye.